course of this conversation, he had lost his job right before he'd been deployed. So he was homeless, and he was living in a little red car in the parking lot of that very Jewel.
Yeah.
And I said, wait a minute, what are you doing afterward? I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I said, well, there is no way, no way am I going to let a veteran sleep in his car on Veterans Day. So the day finished up, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I suppose, and we took him to, when Spring Hill Mall was still in existence, there was a Old Country buffet. So we took him there to eat. I have never seen one human being eat more food than he ate. And I mean, he ate and ate and ate. So now we've fed him, but we still have to find a place for him to stay. So I said, okay, we're going to just get a hotel room for him. And we went to the Lexington, as I remember it. And I talked to the clerk who was in charge at the time. And I thought, you know, I'm looking for a comp room. And it just didn't seem like it was going to happen. But people surprise you. And this person said he can stay here for as long as it takes to find him someplace to live. And he stayed there at the Lexington for about 3 days. And in the meantime, we had contacted Soldiers Angels, and they had a program where he moved in with a widow. And of course, they did the background check and everything else. But he moved in with this widow, and in exchange for doing things around the house and taking care of things, she gave him a place to live, free room and board. And that relationship lasted for about 3 months. And he basically found himself a job, was able to get his life back together, and he ended up going back to school, getting his degree, and met the love of his life, got married, and they were living in Ohio up until a month ago, and she had been diagnosed with cancer and passed away.
My gosh.
But a simple gesture, meeting him and him coming up and talking to us and us saying, no way are you going to be sleeping in your car on Veterans Day. Of all days, we're going to let you sleep in your car on Veterans Day. And it changed the course of his life.
And this is after being out there well over 8 hours collecting.
Right.
And then you still, God knows how many more hours, you had dinner, got to know the gentleman, you took him for a place to stay, and look what this turned out. So these are the type of things I'm talking about. You've done this, George. I can't tell you how many different times.
Yeah, but you know, Dean, I'm not looking for a pat on the back. It isn't about that. It really isn't. It's about trying to make a difference.
Yes.
It's about trying to make a difference in somebody else's life, and it's trying to pay it forward for all the blessings that we've received. And I've had some challenges. It's no secret. I've had some major health challenges, but I say this all the time, and I say this in all sincerity. For every challenge, there have been 10 blessings, and I count those blessings every day.
Well, we're glad you're still around.
Me too.
And we want you here a long time. But just like what you're saying, by paying that forward, by helping this man, you know, now he's going through something with his wife. Did she pass, you're saying? I know you've kept contact.
I have. I just talked to him 2 weeks ago, and I tell you, in the meantime, he was paying it forward. I mean, things changed when his wife got sick, but he was working for an organization that was helping place veterans in the job market, veterans who had been unemployed or chronically unemployed. So again, that was not only his military service, but this was his way also of paying it forward. Right. And that's how we get to where we're supposed to be. There's so much animosity and anger in this country, and I sometimes wonder, we need to remember that we are Americans. We are all Americans, and I don't want to get into a whole political thing here. It's not what it's about, not Veterans Day. But let's remember that we're better off, we're better together, we're better off pulling in the same direction rather than getting pulled apart. So well, there we have it.
That's well said. I mean, I couldn't say it any better than that. And it is so important, again, to recognize, you know, Father Smith, we both know.
Oh, God,
Father Smith.
Love him.
And what is his line was, a man never stands so tall when he stoops to help a child. And with talking with him, I was able to adopt that A person never stands so tall as when they stoop to help another person.
Absolutely.
So here's our music. This is the bottom of the hour. Been talking with George Rollinson. George Rollinson has done so much for the veterans, and how appropriate on Veterans Day. So
And they've done so much for me.
And you know what? It's a two-way street, man. And we're going to be back in just a few short minutes. So hang in there. Dino's night out, kind of, but it's filling in for Tammy and friends. But it's just really a great day. We're able here to celebrate all of our veterans, and I think it's appropriate. And we'll be back right after these messages. WRMN 1410.
Dino's night out on WRMN. It's the talk of the town. So come on and listen now.
I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley. This update brought to you by Rain X. In Aurora, a middle school teacher is facing multiple felony charges for allegedly engaging in a sexual relationship with a former student. 34-year-old Jessica Bergman was arrested last week after investigators say the inappropriate relationship began while the victim was in high school. She has been released with strict conditions and is scheduled to appear in court December 1st. Authorities describe the case as a serious breach of trust and authority. Downers Grove police are asking for the public's help after a woman was grabbed while jogging Friday afternoon. The woman said a man grabbed her by the hips before fleeing in a dark gray sedan. Police described the suspect as a black male, early to mid-30s, wearing a blue SAS t-shirt, black pants, and white Nike Air Max shoes. Anyone with information or video footage is urged to contact the Downers Grove Police Department. In Maine Township, Cook County Sheriff's deputies are investigating a gas station burglary. Security footage shows 3 masked and gloved suspects entering the business early Thursday, stealing cash from a video game machine and 2 bottles of tequila. Authorities say a BMW was seen near the scene, and they are asking anyone with information to come forward. The Senate is moving to end the government shutdown after moderate Democrats agreed to a funding deal without guaranteed health care subsidies. The 60-40 vote angered many in the party, with most Democrats, including Leader Chuck Schumer, opposing the move. Final approval could take several more days. Elgin residents could see a significant jump in their property taxes next year. City officials unveiled a proposed 2026 budget last week that includes a 13.2% increase to help cover rising costs, capital projects, new hires, and public safety pensions. The $407.6 million plan also calls for $113 million in road and infrastructure projects, including work on Dundee Avenue, Center Street, Villa Street, and National Street, as well as a new roundabout at Highland and Lyle Avenues. Officials say no other tax increases are planned, and more details will be shared as the council reviews the budget. I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with a Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like fences. A house with a big yard and a white picket fence was always the dream. But then you saw the price to install a fence and you're wondering if the color is driving the price up. Nobody ever dreams of a beige or a gray picket fence, right? So maybe those fences are cheaper. But no, they're not. Then you remember that switching your home and auto to Progressive could save you hundreds and make all your dreams of a fence come true. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers, not available in all states.
When disaster strikes, flood or fire, every second counts. At Emergency Construction Group, they specialize in immediate response and same-day service for any residential, commercial, or industrial emergency across the Chicagoland area. With over 30 years of experience, they've got the expertise, manpower, and equipment to handle any size loss fast. They follow strict IICRC guidelines to restore your property the right way, the first time. Their team values transparency, constant communication, and strong ethical standards because your peace of mind matters. Licensed, bonded, and insured, they're here for you 24/7, 365 days a year. Call 855-4ECG now. That's 855-432-4669. Or visit their website at emergencyconstructiongroup.com and let Emergency Construction Group put your life back together one step at a time. That's Emergency Construction Group. Your satisfaction is their passion.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by Hot Hands. This afternoon, mostly sunny with a high near 41 and gusty winds up to 30 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 34. Tomorrow, sunny with a high near 50. Looking ahead to Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low around 31. Currently, it is 41 degrees and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Whether it's morning routines or weekends on the sidelines when the temperature drops, America brings the heat with Hot Hands. Hot Hands are America's favorite hand, toe, neck, and even body warmers to help you stay warm and cozy from head to toe. Hot Hands are fast acting, they're long lasting, and they are made right here in the USA. Look for the Hot Hands logo and the bright orange packages at your favorite store or online, and keep doing what you love out there with Hot Hands, warming up America coast to coast.
Hello there, we are back. WRMN 1410, and we're doing a little tribute to our veterans. I'm sitting here with my very good friend, George Rollinson. He's decided to join us in here today, and we're so glad you made it, George.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Believe me, glad to be here. I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Yeah, got so many more things that I really do want to cover with you. You know, one of the things, too, for those of you joining, maybe a little late, maybe you didn't get over to the symphony, what is that? Shock
Center.
That's it, thank you. Shock Center, because the American Legion, the local post, along with the city of Elgin, put on a beautiful little ceremony. And, you know, everybody hears it and everybody talks all day long. You hear how the origin of Veterans Day was, you know, rooted from Armistice Day. And Armistice Day was the stopping of World War I. And that was real important because it was the 11th day, the 11th month, at the 11th hour. President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed the first Armistice Day in 1919. And then it was after the Korean War in 1954, both World War II and the Korean War, the holiday was officially changed to Veterans Day, to honor Veterans Day. See, that's the big difference, and that's the only reason why I bring it up. You know, we have Memorial Day. That's for all our brothers and sisters that have fallen. Veterans Day is take that opportunity to those who have served and they are still here. Veterans Day, to remember all of our veterans. Don't forget the ones that have fallen. But this is a special day for those that are here. It's a special day that we look at these veterans and say, what can I do to pay something a little forward? How can I help their life, maybe make it just a little bit better? George told a beautiful story. You turned a guy's life around, you know, working with the Soldiers Angels. You know, he was collecting at a jewel, like he's tirelessly does. Him and Bill Durante, they both cover one each door. So here he is working 8 hours long, and he sees this gentleman in the car. Found out he was a veteran, got talking to him, been living in his car. George made sure that they went over and got a nice meal. They took him to the buffet. That way he could have whatever he wanted.
And he did.
Right? Yeah, he ate like he was going to the chair, huh? And then after that, they found him housing. And, you know, and here's the neat part about it, to show you what you did for him and the type of man he was. They said you could stay here as long as you need to. 3 days, he was on his feet and was able to do something and make himself better where he didn't have to rely on that free housing. So, I mean, if that's not a story of success, the man later went on to get married, lovely wife, struggling right now with some cancer situation, but still, that was a lot of years ago, and he was able to turn someone's life around. This is what we need to do, folks. We need to look at these veterans and say, what can I do to help you? I'm not saying wine and dine them, bring them all over the world, but maybe they have a special need. Maybe they just want to go visit somebody. Maybe they want to, themselves that day, want to go to one of the cemeteries and visit one of their fallen comrades. Whatever it is, let's do it. How about it, George?
Dean, this anecdote does not put me in the best light, but I'll share it anyway. Getting back to Phil Glatz and going to the hotel, the Lexington, to get him a room to stay. So I go in there, and I'm thinking, just get a comp room for a couple of days so I could contact somebody from Soldiers Angels. So I go in, and the clerk, the manager, was Pakistani. And right away, my own limitations, I'm thinking, this is not going to go well. I'm going to ask this ethnic person, a different ethnicity, for help. And he could not have been nicer, could not have been more helpful. Veteran needs a place to stay. He could stay here as long as he wants. And again, you get caught up in your own limitations. And instead of taking some positive energy, which we were able to navigate it and turn it into positive energy. But again, when I saw, if I would have looked at you or Dennis Green or Elliot, it would have been a different vibe. But I'm thinking, I don't think this is going to go well with somebody from a completely different culture. Didn't make a difference. It was a veteran who needed help, and this gentleman, this clerk, helped. And I think of...
Opened your eyes to look at people a little bit differently, too, when
absolutely.
Acts of kindness
certainly
like
does.
that happens.
Certainly does.
Maybe we're pigeonholing or stereotyping somebody. Here they rise to the occasion.
We met so many people. I've met so many different people and always prided ourselves on diversity, whether it's gender or racial or ethnic diversity, sexual orientation, didn't make a difference. We prided ourselves on having that eclectic sensibility. And I was at an event in Chicago, and Mary Pedinato was founding an organization called Honor Flight Chicago. Her dad was a World War II veteran, and Honor Flight Chicago provided World War II, and then they transitioned to Korean War veterans. Now I think it's mostly Vietnam veterans, just because the populations have disappeared or are disappearing. But I met Mary Pedinato at an event in Chicago, and she was starting up Honor Flight Chicago. And we got involved with her. We got involved with fundraising. And we had Mary here in this studio with a veteran, Korean War veteran, who was terminally ill. And Honor Flight flew these veterans from Chicago to Washington, where they could go visit their memorial. And at the time when we first met her, it was mostly World War II. But because this Korean War veteran was terminal, they made an exception and brought him in. And when he came in the studio with Mary, and they were talking about having been in Washington, and they were at the memorial, the Korean War Memorial, and a Korean national, a younger woman, came up to him, and she thanked him. She said she thanked him for saving her country. And he turned to Mary Pedinato and said, I've done what I wanted to do. If it's my time to go, I can go now, meaning that he was not going to live much longer. And again, it's about making that kind of difference. And Mary Pedinato, and I'd like to think that we helped her make a difference. But Honor Flight Chicago became such a sensation, and still is, I think. We're not involved anymore, but it is, and I don't know if you've been there, Dean, and they have a schedule. It is the most patriotic night you will ever experience. You have now Vietnam War veterans who, again, never really felt welcome coming back home. And they fly early in the morning. They fly from Chicago. They have everything is paid for. Mary's great at raising money to pay for these flights. And they're gone all day. They leave early in the morning, and when they come home and they land at Midway, they're exhausted. They've been in Washington all day. They have a special assistant, a guide, to help them through the day. A lot of these people are wheelchair bound, but nonetheless, they come off that airplane, and there are hundreds and hundreds of people to welcome them. And family members, friends, but just, I've been down there 15 times And I go down there. I don't really know anybody who's coming home, but it's just to pay homage to the people who are returning home. And it's our way of thanking them and welcoming them back. And it is there, you got the guys with the beards, the biker guys, Patriot Guard, I think. You got bagpipe people. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable the amount of people and the amount of passion there. Passion persuades, and these people are there to welcome these veterans home, and it is such an unbelievably patriotic night. And I often said, if I were a high school teacher, and I don't know the mechanics of how you do these things, I'm sure with all the rules and regulations, but high school students should be almost required to go down and
be an escort.
Experience, yeah, exactly.
Yes,
thank you. Be escort, and to experience what it is for these veterans who are 3 times their age to come home to a welcome, to finally feel like they're welcome back, and maybe they've gone full circle.
No, it's something, and it's if you want to reach out to them, it's info@honorflightchicago.org, and going through the website and you see the pictures, they're taking disabled veterans. So you can imagine the care that has to go to get these gentlemen and women on these flights. Look at Tammy Duckworth.
Yeah.
She was missing both of her.
We've had her, I mentioned, we've had her here too.
We
She's
had
great.
her we honored her with the Sons and Daughters of Italy.
Absolutely.
Order Sons of Italy.
Yeah, great.
So, and she was very gracious at the time. She was running for, I think, just veterans. She was at the Veteran Affairs going for senator.
Mm-hmm.
But she was very gracious, beautiful story. Oh my God, terrible story, but a very nice story. But the honor flight, we participated recently with Burlington, with Mary Kay, the mayor, city manager, or city president. Yeah. And we did a little piece, was a little live broadcast. But what they do is they pick him up from the time he leaves his home till the time they bring him back to his house. There's somebody with him all the time, escorted. The Burlington Fire Department came out for him, gave him that nice, warm welcome. And I've worked with a lot of different guys that went through Vietnam, on the fire department and police. And you listen to these poor guys, when they came back, they were baby killers. They were all these negative, nasty things. There was no ticker tape parades like World War I, World War II. It was all this negativity and all this, free speech stuff of how terrible they were. And that's a shame. For a man to serve his country and woman, to go out there and serve your country and come back and be spit on and be talked down to in the way they did. There was times they were coming home. The one, Mike Riley told me the story. They were coming home. They were going into O'Hare. There was a busload of them, and of veterans. And they knew they were coming. The rioters, they had to bring him into the back door. So here they have to exit the back door of the airport.
Well,
soldiers, heroes that served our country, because they wanted to obviously avoid the confrontation with these protesters.
I have, of course, a special affection for Elgin, and I think Elgin has done, and other communities have too, but I have a vested interest in Elgin. They have done a tremendous job in honoring our veterans. The ceremony that they have at Bluff City Cemetery and other things. Today's, for example, they've done wonderful work.
You bring up about the city of Elgin. I'm going to tell you something else, because Dennis did all the live broadcast for it. In being there, you saw the mayor came in, Councilwoman
Rose Martinez.
Rose Martinez was there.
The best, absolute best.
What a woman, huh?
The best.
What a
Love
woman.
her.
In uniform. All the other representatives from the American Legion.
How about this? I went to a Cubs game with her earlier this year.
Did you?
Oh, my God. And I tell you what I learned. And here's how old school and out of touch I am. So we go to the Cubs game. I've been to Wrigley Field 1,000 times. I know that ballpark every inch of the way. But what I didn't know, and Councilwoman Martinez, who is very, very smart, she knew this. So we get there and park, get to our seats, and she said, do you want to have a beer? I'm not much of a beer drinker, but I said, okay. So we each decided to have a beer. And I'm looking for like the vendors, the guys with the dollars in their hands,
Sure.
you know. Wait a minute. Now she orders the beers online and they bring them to us.
Right to your seat.
My goodness, I'm thinking, where have you been the last 20 years?
Yeah,
really?
Things have changed.
So, yeah. But Rose is fabulous.
And there she was, in uniform.
Yeah.
Not just as a counsel, in uniform. You had Rob Sagan, the fire chief, was there with all his chiefs. Chief Anna Lally, of course, there with all of her representation. So this is a community. You're right. City of Elgin gets behind not only the veterans, but every program that happens in this community.
And I think, Dean, and I'm working from memory here, many years, 10 years ago, probably more, we had Wade Smith. He's an Elgin firefighter. I think he might be a lieutenant now. I don't know. But he was, and we had him on Tribute to the Troops. Steve Thorin had talked to him, and it was such an interesting story because he's a veteran, African-American. He looks like a poster.
Like he walked out of GQ.
Yeah. GQ
Legit.
and GQ and also like some military recruitment poster and a very caring, compassionate young man. And I think, and I've kind of lost touch with him, but I think he's moved up the ranks. And he was.
We had him at America First Responders Fest too.
Oh, is that right?
We honored him 2 years ago.
And he was doing something with, I mean, this is years ago, collecting mattresses, I think, for homeless veterans.
Correct.
I mean, again, this guy's an Elgin firefighter. He's doing enough as it is, full-time job, I'm sure family, but he was doing things that were above and beyond. And the parallel with that story is when there was a World War II veteran, passed away, L.C. West, African-American, served in the Navy. He's in the Fox Valley Veterans book. And I would like to think that this connotates some progress, that we've moved in the right direction. But L.C. West served his country honorably, combat action on this particular ship. I think he was L.C. West, and Bob Balsamo would know this, was post commander at the American Legion years ago. But when he came home and he was on a train on his way home. The train stopped at a restaurant, and he was not allowed to go into the kitchen to get food. Here he just served his country in his tour of duty, and he could not go into the kitchen to get served. They had to bring the food out to him. And you'd like to think that we've made a lot of progress, that we've erased a lot of those
barriers, those racial barriers.
Right,
I hope are
right.
gone, especially with, again, well, how about it with Glenn Yamamoto? He's with me, with Brother Knight. He serves as a 4th degree.
Right.
And he was in that internment camp.
Right.
Okay. So, and he served the country as well. And there was a general, Major General James Mukoyama, and he's retired, U.S. Army retired. And this is the guy here who started like a little ministry at the, Great Lakes?
Right.
Yeah, Great Lakes. Beautiful story. Faith, Family, and Flag. And this is another Japanese individual that wasn't allowed to have the same recognition and the same honors. I don't know what you'd want to call it.
Well, and I think people lose sight that these people,
race he was.
The people who were in these internment camps, these were not Japanese nationals. These were American citizens who happened to be of Japanese descent.
Some already fought for the country.
Unbelievable. And I think, and again, I'm not prepared enough to know this verbatim, but I think the most decorated unit in World War II was made up of Japanese Americans.
It's in that book.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go.
To that, but that's okay.
Here we are with that fortuitous thing happening.
Yeah. And then that's just amazing. You know, and you have so many people, you talk about people locally in the area. How about Jerry Christofferson?
Yes.
True Patriots Care, which
what
is
a hero.
TruePatriotsCare.com.
Talk about selfless and time and all the time that goes into that.
Puts up
and I think,
all those flags.
Yeah, I know. And I think we lose sight of that. You know, John Polaro,
Another one,
again.
the cars are making
exactly.
sure that...
I mean, these people put so much time and energy into trying to improve things for veterans or for the community in general. And they've got families, they've got other things to do. Many of them, maybe most of them, have jobs, responsibilities. You too. I mean, look at all the things. And again, I'm not tooting your horn here, but all the things that you do for the community, you and Dennis, through this radio station, that, you know, you still have to make a living. You have bills to pay. You turn the light switch on, you'd like the lights to come on.
Yeah.
But you give that time back to the community, and you just want some reciprocity where we're all moving forward together.
And that's just it. You know, crossing that finish line together is what it matters. It doesn't matter
the finish line.
If you're the boss, if you're not the boss, if you're the worker, whoever you are. If one falls, everybody should stop, pick that person up, and let's cross the line together. I already talked about that once before with the Olympics. But that's how it is. One tie, all tie. We're all Americans. This is what we do. This is what we're supposed to do. And the people that have served us, man, this is their time. You need to regard them, and you need to show them the proper recognition. Jerry, not only does he put them up for special events, but he lines we'll call it a corridor of the route of a funeral procession for not just the military any longer. He now does it for first responders.
Dan Simmons, too, from Simmons Madison Funeral Home. They do a lot there.
Yeah.
Dan, I know, and I never had the opportunity to meet your dad for all the years that we've known each other, but your dad was a veteran.
Navy.
And
United
what
States
about his
Navy.
service? He must have been proud of it. Did he talk about it?
All the time. They were in that Pacific. Again, there's where I got that word, I think, skirmish, because it was my dad's name that he would use, skirmish.
Yeah.
It was in between the Korean War and the Second War. I don't know. It was in the middle there on the Pacific battles we were having. But I didn't find out until he passed in Arizona, talking to his brothers from the American Legion, that he had some real serious things go on.
Right.
That, I don't want to say traumatized him, but he lost his hearing. He had a hard time with hearing for the longest time because he was on that USS Little Rock, which was a cruiser. And they had those big guns with that boom, boom. And he told me a little bit of different things, but I didn't realize they had some combat issues that he went through.
Right.
And his brothers were telling me all about it. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. But that was my father. My father didn't want to, a lot of veterans, they didn't like to talk about it.
Different
They did their
generation.
service and it's over. And that's why, like, even with this police and fire, thank you for, you know what? I knew the job that I took. Thank you very much. It's nice that you acknowledge, but I don't like that. It makes me feel uncomfortable. And that was, again, my father. He didn't want all the fanfare. He took advantage and even said, he says, you know what? Thank God for the military, because I hate to talk bad about my grandfather, but my dad did. I guess my grandfather was pretty abusive to my grandmother. They had nothing. So my father used a GI Bill to get a home.
Yeah, God bless
Got a
him.
home, took care of his brothers and sisters. He made up total of 6. So here's my father at 20-some years old. He got in real early. And at 20-some years old, took that GI Bill, provided for the whole family. I mean, that's a hero. I mean, I get serving our country, but serving his family the way he did. But he said, yeah, I took advantage of the GI Bill. He ended up going to college, become a commercial artist, had a great career and great path for himself. And, you know, my other brothers turned out real good, and then there was me. So, you know, it was...
Still writing that story.
Well, that's okay. Hey, we're at the top of the hour. Everybody would hear George Rollinson. Hey, feel free to call in, 847-931-1410. We'd love to take your call. We are celebrating Veterans Day. We're acknowledging all our veterans, each and every one of the men and women that have served our country selflessly, and all the individuals that make up the veterans support groups and what have you. So join us, stay with us, keep tuned in at WRMN 1410. You can watch us also on the YouTube channel as well. We'll be back with a few short messages.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who help people that have been injured or wronged. If you've been involved in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or injured at work, you have rights, and you may be entitled to money for your suffering. Don't accept an offer you get from an insurance company until you talk to a lawyer. And we represent some of the best personal injury lawyers you can find. Tough lawyers that will fight to win your case. And they're so good they stake their reputation on it by only getting paid if you win. So if you've been in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or hurt on the job, find out today for free what kind of compensation you may be entitled to. Call the legal helpline right now.
800-257-3148. 800-257-3148. 800-257-3148. That's 800-257-3148.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 3 o'clock.
I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley. This update brought to you by Hot Hands. Downers Grove police are asking for the public's help after a woman was grabbed while jogging Friday afternoon. The woman said a man grabbed her by the hips before fleeing in a dark gray sedan. Police described the suspect as a black male, early to mid-30s, wearing a blue SAS t-shirt, black pants, and white Nike Air Max shoes. Anyone with information or video footage is urged to contact the Downers Grove Police Department. In Maine Township, Cook County Sheriff's deputies are investigating a gas station burglary. Security footage shows 3 masked and gloved suspects entering the business early Thursday, stealing cash from a video game machine and 2 bottles of tequila. Authorities say a BMW was seen near the scene, and they are asking anyone with information to come forward. The Senate is moving to end the government shutdown after moderate Democrats agreed to a funding deal without guaranteed health care subsidies. The 60-40 vote angered many in the party, with most Democrats, including Leader Chuck Schumer, opposing the move. Final approval could take several more days. Elgin residents could see a significant jump in their property taxes next year. City officials unveiled a proposed 2026 budget last week that includes a 13.2% increase to help cover rising costs, capital projects, new hires, and public safety pensions. The $407.6 million plan also calls for $113 million in road and infrastructure projects, including work on Dundee Avenue, Center Street, Villa Street, and National Street, as well as a new roundabout at Highland and Lyle Avenues. Officials say no other tax increases are planned, and more details will be shared as the council reviews the budget. In Aurora, a middle school teacher is facing multiple felony charges for allegedly engaging in a sexual relationship with a former student. 34-year-old Jessica Bergman was arrested last week after investigators say the inappropriate relationship began while the victim was in high school. She has been released with strict conditions and is scheduled to appear in court December 1st. Authorities describe the case as a serious breach of trust and authority. I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would it leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. If your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection on the drivetrain, AC, and more. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits. A $2,000 value, free.
Call 800-298-9302. 800-298-9302.
I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley. This update brought to you by Rain X. In Aurora, a middle school teacher is facing multiple felony charges for allegedly engaging in a sexual relationship with a former student. 34-year-old Jessica Bergman was arrested last week after investigators say the inappropriate relationship began while the victim was in high school. She has been released with strict conditions and is scheduled to appear in court December 1st. Authorities describe the case as a serious breach of trust and authority. Downers Grove police are asking for the public's help after a woman was grabbed while jogging Friday afternoon. The woman said a man grabbed her by the hips before fleeing in a dark gray sedan. sedan. Police described the suspect as a black male, early to mid-30s, wearing a blue SAS t-shirt, black pants, and white Nike Air Max shoes. Anyone with information or video footage is urged to contact the Downers Grove Police Department. In Maine Township, Cook County Sheriff's deputies are investigating a gas station burglary. Security footage shows 3 masked and gloved suspects entering the business early Thursday, stealing cash from a video game machine and 2 bottles of tequila. Authorities say a BMW was seen near the...
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by Hot Hands. This afternoon, mostly sunny with a high near 41 and gusty winds up to 30 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 34. Tomorrow, sunny with a high near 50. Looking ahead to Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low around 31. Currently, it is 41 degrees and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Whether it's morning routines or weekends on the sidelines when the temperature drops, America brings the heat with Hot Hands. Hot Hands are America's favorite hand, toe, neck, and even body warmers to help you stay warm and cozy from head to toe. Hot Hands are fast acting, they're long lasting, and they are made right here in the USA. Look for the Hot Hands logo and the bright orange packages at your favorite store or online, and keep doing what you love out there with Hot Hands, warming up America coast to coast.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors
all of us at that time were
in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Ready to tackle your junk piles? Call the Junk Luggers. From old furniture to entire cleanouts, we do the heavy lifting. And here's the best part. We rehome and recycle as much as possible to keep it all out of landfills. Feel good about your cleanout the green way. Call 1-800-LUG-JUNK or visit junkluggers.com today for your eco-friendly, stress-free service.
Dino's Night Out on WRMN. It's the talk of the town, so come on and listen now. It's Dino's Night Out on WRMN 1410.
Hey, and we are back. Don't let the Dino's Night Out stuff fool you. This is still Tammy and Friends, and we're doing a special tribute to our brothers and sisters, our veterans, the people that we're here to honor and respect today. And I got my very wonderful dear friend, George Rollinson, in studio. George, I'm so glad that you came out.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here, Dave.
This is really
nice. How much it means to me to be here with you, to be in the studio. And as I mentioned during the break, I go back to the dark days upstairs with those albums. And this is like a whole new setup here. I mean, it's great, high tech and professional and really, really upscale compared to where it was 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Well, whatever. I mean, things improved with the studio here.
Yeah, being downstairs.
The street studio. And it's so nice. I mean, you could look out and actually see life out there.
You
and
see
we were
people.
talking, I mentioned right across the street, and I'm looking at the sign, Smithburg Wealth, and we talk about everybody has a history, and you don't realize that everybody carries their history with them. Roger Smithburg, who I think is a broker of some sort, I know he's a financial guy, and he's a good guy, very distinguished looking, tall, thin, blonde hair, and always well-dressed, walks up and down Douglas, picking papers up off the street, and you see him all the time. He's a former Major League Baseball player, not Class A, Double A, Triple, Major League Baseball player. I think he pitched at Larkin High School, then went maybe to Bradley University. I don't remember, but I know he pitched in the big leagues, and that says something. That puts you in a special category.
It sure does. And you remember what team he was on at all?
He was on Oakland.
Oakland?
Oakland A's, yep.
Wow. Oakland, and back when it's still their Oakland baseball
Yeah, I think
team?
maybe mid-'80s, I would guess, given his age, I think, probably maybe early.
I saw the gentleman you're talking about, but I certainly
Major
didn't know.
League Baseball.
I'll be darned. Hey, anybody wants to call in 847-931-1410, talk to George Rollinson, ask him a question or two. George has been around with WRMN family for many years, and it is really a treat to be able to sit with George here and just have a nice conversation. Something that's near and dear. Published a wonderful book, Fox Valley Veterans. He did that in 2004?
2004.
2004. If you look at the individuals that are in this book, I mean, I think I got half of the ones signed anyhow, because he had a lot of different book signings, and their service is just amazing. Mr. Bassal is in here, isn't he?
Pardon me?
Balsamo is in?
No, I wish. He'll be in the next one.
Okay.
We profiled 30 veterans, and at the time, again, I didn't know any of these veterans. I did what a newspaper reporter is supposed to do. I'd show up at an American Legion or a VFW or talk to somebody who was vested in the community and say, hey, who's got a good story? And those are not stories. These are not stories about Battle of the Bulge or Iwo Jima or Tarawa or Guadalcanal. These are not war stories. These are stories about, yes, some of the stories involve a lot of military action, but these are stories too about what people did before they were involved in the military and what they did after, their stories, personal stories. And I think that's what gave the book its panache.
I think it does. Because I'm reading, this is Johnny Vargas, and Johnny's quote was, "The newspapers said we were fighting an idea. This one wasn't about national survival or manifest destiny. Korea was America's first ideological war. In the aftermath of World War II, the Korean Peninsula was an unholy mess."
Yeah, and again, it was just about doing the legwork and making connections. Amos Nicholson was a nose artist on B-52s during World War II. They were flying out of Africa. And it was so interesting. Here he was a young man, teenager, early 20s, and he was a really talented artist. And he got a scholarship to go to the Art Institute, which was pretty prestigious. So he would go from Aurora to the Art Institute. And it turned out, Dean, that he had to give that scholarship up because he did not have enough money. He had a scholarship paid for, did not have enough money to get from Aurora to the Art Institute. So he's in the military, he's in the Air Force, and they find out that he's an artist, and he starts doing nose art. He's painting the airplanes, and he was responsible. He started something called the Snow White Squadron, and there were all these characters, Snow White characters on these airplanes.
All the bombers.
On the bombers.
I'll be done.
So, and what a wonderful, wonderful man he was. And I could tell this story now. He's passed, just a really, and he had such an outgoing personality. But Amos was in his 80s, I suppose, and he had a major, major crush on Mary Pettinato, the founder of Honor Flight, and he was involved in Honor Flight, and Mary was, mega attractive in her 40s, and Amos was, every event she was at, he'd show up just to be there, hoping that he might get a date with somebody 40 years or 50 years younger than he was.
Well, he still had dreams.
Yeah, no kidding.
He earned it. He worked for it.
He did. He did.
And again, I'm looking at Gene Bonk. The different quotes that you have for these guys. This is Gene Bonk, what he said. "Death is inevitable. Immortality is not."
Right.
He remembers the unsung soldiers, all American boys, who would die at Omaha Beach. Many of them were killed while wading ashore, cut down by German guns. The code name for the bloody beach was Easy Red, an appropriate color given all that happened there on June 6, 1944.
I have to tell you, it was because of my involvement with Gene Bonk. And again, he's 18 years old. He's a master sergeant, and he's in charge of 200 people who are part of the initial invasion wave at Omaha Beach. So all those years later, so the book came out in 2004. This is probably 2018. I went to Omaha Beach. I wanted to see that. And it was just, it took your breath away. The emotion took your breath away. And I walked down those perfect rows of that cemetery, of those headstones, those marble stones. And everyone, as I walked down those rows, I looked and I read the name out loud and the state that they were from. And I ended up sobbing, really sobbing, as I'm going through reading these names and thinking of all those young lives who never really got started on their own lives because of the sacrifices they made that day.
And you could see the dates, how close from date of birth to date.
Yep. Then you're talking 18 years old, 20 years old.
That gave them life. I mean,
it was just, as a matter of fact, I got the photos on my phone. It's just, you realize, or you remember the sacrifices that these people made and how many of them never really had a chance to start their own lives. And there's that great scene from Saving Private Ryan at the end when the character, Private Ryan, says to his wife as he's standing at one of those gravesites, and he's now elderly and reflecting back, and he says, "Tell me I led a good life. Tell me I did the right thing." And that was what was important, that he was able to survive and he led a good life and did the right thing.
He was a good husband, good family man.
A good American.
And that image sticks in my head because you see all the different photos of different things, and they shot a picture of a parade scene, and they asked the question, which one of these individuals are the veteran? Mm-hmm. And what it was the military walking by with the colors, okay, whatever it was, American Legion, I can't remember right now, but they're walking by in this parade, and everyone's sitting down, drinking their soda pop, eating their candies or whatever they got, and here's this gentleman that could barely hold himself up on the arms of his wheelchair. And the caption was, which one of these people are the veteran? And it was real clear. The guy in the wheelchair. So, this is the type of thing. Instead of, you need to honor those flags when they're going by. When you see the military personnel, we need to understand what they've done, what they've seen, what they've been through. And we have Dennis Green joining us right now. Dennis is a veteran as well.
Yes,
on
I
a
am.
nice Italian ship. What was the name of that ship?
The Anzio.
There you go.
Yeah, the USS Anzio was after the Battle of Anzio, a couple months of siege to the point where the Germans actually sent out pamphlets, their own propaganda, with a big old skull for the dead beachhead.
Yeah.
Because they were telling the Americans and the Allied forces that they were going to be killed any day now. So,
Dennis, what kind of ship was the Anzio?
It was a guided missile cruiser. So, CG-68, decommissioned just a couple years ago, but it was commissioned in 1992. About 530-some feet with it, 500 plus souls on board. It was a great time. Loved it over there.
That was the submarine.
No, it was a cruiser. It's a guided missile cruiser. We hunted submarines.
Oh,
yeah.
Man. So you weren't in a submarine?
No. I had orders to the Florida at one time, and then they decided to send me to the surface fleet instead.
I could not imagine being in a submarine.
Yeah, no, I visited.
I'll serve my country gladly, but you put me in there, no, I would be so.
I'll be in the nervous breakdown ward.
What got me was 3 people to 2 beds. Mm-hmm. That was the weirdest thing for me. Yeah, they call it hot racking. So you have 2 beds, and when the guy is on watch, he doesn't need a bed,
sure.
Right? So you guys just cycle through.
Rotate it through, so you have room on there.
Yeah, the only people that have their own beds are the officers and the cooks, because you don't want the cook to be sharing a bed with nobody.
Yeah.
Smell like onions anyway.
Well, but it was a fantastic
I think I shared a bed with a cook or two.
Yeah, that was a great ship. I sailed it all over, even went as far south as Somalia. So I did cross the equator on her, and then I went as far I guess, east as the Middle East. We were in the Persian Gulf cutting circles with the Iranians. And then as far north as the Baltic.
Why do they refer to ships as her?
Her? Well, you don't want to necessarily be riding a guy for a couple days at a time. You know what I mean?
I'm good with that. That I get. That I get.
It was superstitious back in the day to actually have women on board ships because the only lady should be your ship, right? Mm-hmm. That you got to take care of her.
Oh, interesting.
So that's also why the USS Constitution is still around. Mm-hmm. That is the oldest commissioned ship in the United States fleet because they take care of her. Wooden ship, old Ironsides there.
Wow. I'm trying to get the screen to come up here.
Yeah.
But screen solo gives me the IBS.
Oh. Are you looking to put a picture up?
Yeah, I'm going to run a quick video because George brought up the honor flight.
Okay.
I'm going to try and run that video.
But we can do that at the break. I'll get that set up.
Great organization.
Yeah, honor flight is really, the things they do is just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's wonderful. But
and there's so many great organizations out there. We've talked about some of them, and we've been remiss in not mentioning others just because there are so many. But again, everybody gets an opportunity to make a difference. And whether you're raising $1 million a year or $100 a year, if you're doing something positive, you're doing something positive, and it's a step in the right direction, whether it's local or whether it's national.
One of the things I always like to promote today and then also on Memorial Day is also the Spartan Pledge. We had talked about it earlier.
I was explaining it to George earlier, but go ahead. Explain it a little bit more.
The Spartan Pledge is a concise oath that was developed by an Iraqi war veteran, Boone Cutler, in response to the crisis of veteran suicide. They say 22 a day on average, but that number has been steadily climbing. We're almost hitting 30 a day now with it. Essentially, it reads, "I will not take my own life by my own hand until I talk to my battle buddy first. My mission is to find a mission to help my warfighter family." That's really something that hits hard for veterans out there. A lot of people turn around and they don't like the authoritarian or even somebody telling them what to do a lot of times. So it's not a pledge of, I guess, not taking that choice away from you because nobody can. It doesn't matter where you are. When I used to work for sub-school legal in Connecticut, we made sure that we posted a watch for anybody that was showing signs of hurting themselves or anything like that. But I mean, you can't be with somebody forever all the time. You know what I mean? If they're going to do it.
And it blindsides you. I know you've lost friends who've taken their own lives. Dean has. I certainly have. And it just blindsides you sometimes. You just can't. A friend of mine, a former city council member, Mike Powers, I had talked to him one day. I know he had been going through some emotional things, but he seemed perfectly fine. And the day I talked to him, Dennis, he seemed really grounded and really healthy. And I got a call later that night from the former police chief, Jeff Swoboda, and said, Mike Powers is gone. I said, no, you must have the wrong Mike Powers. And it was true. It was accurate.
And so what the pledge is to talk to somebody first. And can you imagine if right before anybody made that decision, that ultimate decision, they picked up the phone? You know what I mean? So that's what the pledge is on that first fold is we're not going to take that decision away from you. Nobody can.
Right.
But we want you to talk to somebody about that decision first.
Because you're important to me.
Exactly.
Bottom line. And you have a worth. And give me the opportunity. Let me play salesman. Give me that chance to talk you down off of that tough moment you're in the middle of. That's what we're here to help each other with.
And the other side of the pledge is to find a mission to support other veterans. Because a lot of times when people do feel like they don't belong here or they don't want to be here anymore, a lot of times is because they don't feel connected. They don't feel like somebody's really waiting on the other end for the next day and everything else. So what this other side of it is to find a way to give back as well, because that way you're building that responsibility, you're building that mission again.
Sounds very proactive.
So check it out. It's on Facebook as well. The Spartan Pledge is where you can go to learn more about that on Facebook. So
And it's a great pledge, military or otherwise, because everybody needs someone to speak to. You know, sometimes it's just that little nudge you need, like, you know, what am I doing here? What do I want this for? And forget about it. I'm done. And then someone says, well, hold it. Aren't you the guy that did this or that? And maybe sometimes it jars a memory, not for the, Mutual Admiration Society, but just to be able to shock that person back. Come on, get out of this. This is not who you are. Just like what you, George, talking to the guy from Elgin, where here's a guy that you would never have suspected, would you?
No.
That he would have took his life.
No. That's blindsided. I've been blindsided by friends who've taken their lives more than once, and it's just so heartbreaking. And I think we get caught up, and maybe it's a male ego thing, but I know it crosses that gender, but you feel, I think, that you don't want to let people down. And a friend of mine who was very, very close to taking his own life said, you get in such a dark place that the only way out, the only way that you could think, the only way out is by taking your own life. Yeah. And I can't imagine that sort of pain and that sort of just giving up on yourself, giving up on the people who you love and who love you. And I guess that is probably, and I think that speaks to this program, Dennis, is don't give up on the people who love you.
Mm-hmm.
Find something proactive. Find something.
That in
find
itself
something. Yeah,
will give you the reason not to do it.
Right.
But so many people,
I mean, you both have children. Think of that.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, but when you're in that moment, I can imagine you're like, so what? So I'm gone. They're not going to care.
Yeah.
They're not talking to me now, but they're not going to talk to me later. And you're talking people that are, some guys and gals in the military, both, they're pretty set on what they want.
Right.
And they're a person of their word. They're a man or woman of their word. Mm-hmm. So now when they're setting out to do this, hurt themselves permanently, well, they can't go back on it now, no matter you call me or otherwise, pledge or no pledge. That's a very tough spot that you've put them in with this pledge, because now they're going back on their word, because they made the decision to say, forget about it, I'm done with this.
Yep.
But thankfully that pledge is there, and I bet you it has saved people.
And Dean, this is not military related, but I've talked to Elliot about this on the air. Robin Williams brought so much joy to this world, I think. And I could tell you exactly where I was when I found out that he had taken his own life. I was on Larkin Avenue passing the McDonald's, and I had heard that he had taken his own life. And I was so absolutely devastated, past devastated. It was, again, blindsided. Robin Williams, he was in a different stratosphere and did so many positive things and brought so much laughter and joy into so many lives. You'd never think that he had a bad day in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Same thing. I heard that the day he passed, that was my favorite comedian.
Oh, God,
When I heard he passed, I just in tears, sitting in my room.
I know.
I just couldn't fathom. But I read a little bit more. He knew he had like a dementia thing going on.
Lurie's dementia or something,
and he couldn't face it. So it was like, okay. Well, I know. Yeah. There was other ways out. A lot of people loved him.
Well, you can always call 988. That is the suicide and crisis line. You will get directed to somebody to talk to. 988. It's like 911. But you can just dial 988 on your phone. And that's the beauty about the Spartan Pledge, is it's not always about saying, I'm going to talk to my mom, I'm going to talk to my wife, I'm going to talk to somebody about it. So 988 is that suicide crisis line.
And this is a day, too. You get so many veterans that are reflecting.
Absolutely.
And this could be a dark time for them.
And there's no shame in asking for help.
Absolutely
There's no
not.
shame in asking for help. If there's any shame at all, it's not finding the help that you need.
You're a bigger man or woman when you ask, well, what did you do when you were inside, when you were in the service?
Absolutely.
You relied on your partner, man or woman, that was in that military. They had your back. So what makes you think they're not going to have your back now?
Yep. What I loved about it, you could just yell at somebody in uniform. Like if you were lifting something heavy, you could just reach on over and be like, "Hey, you get over here and help me with this thing."
Hey, George, Art Risha. Art Risha, another little excerpt from the book. Every war is the war to end all wars. He comes across as a friendly man, nice and neighborly, totally unassuming. Good to meet you. Art, I say his name?
Risha.
Art Risha says, the word as freshly perked as morning coffee. I'm honored having a chance to talk about America. Conversation comes easily. And he is said to be a man of deep conviction. So
Purple Heart Art.
There you are. Purple Heart Art.
Really such a wonderful man, a difference maker in Elgin, and Art made a promise when he had just, his wife Eleanor, they were just married, and he was going overseas, and he promised, he said, I will make it home back to you. And when he got to Europe and he saw one dead body, one dead American body after the other, he contacted his father-in-law, and he said, please tell Eleanor that I'll do my best, but I don't know if I'll be able to make it home.
Wow.
He was able to make it home. He got shot in the face crossing the Rhine River. He was blind, but he made it home, and he made a difference. I'll tell you a funny story. And again, this is, are we okay?
Well,
we're going to head over
we're
to
on
break.
YouTube, but we are going to take a break, everybody. Those of you, this little bit extra, you're hearing on the YouTube. But we'll be back, WRMN 1410. We're in studio live. George Rollinson, and we had Dennis Sonar Green joining us as well. We'll be back in just a few short moments.
Good. This is another story that does not put me in
In most cases, veterans do not consider themselves
Dino's Night Out on WRMN. It's the talk of the town, so come on and listen now.
Hey everybody, it's me, Dino. Not Dino's Night Out. We are still here with the Tammy and friends, Phil in, doing our veterans show. Special, I guess we'll call it. And today in the studio, we are very happy and fortunate to have George Rollinson and Dennis Sonar Green. George has been giving us some great stories.
And I'm very happy to hear that theme song. I love that
Isn't that
song.
neat? I love
remember
that
the first time I played it. I said, that's a song with a hook. Who does the vocals?
Michael Caddy did it.
Yeah, it's great.
Isn't that wonderful?
It's great.
Oh, I can listen all day
Got a
long.
Michael Bublé kind of vibe to it. At least it sounds that way to me.
WRMN 14.
See, now you got me playing it.
Wow. That's worthwhile in itself.
Yeah, having you here, George, means a lot. Again, you're here on Veterans Day. You're here discussing, we're reminiscing a lot. We're talking about your book, talking about a lot of things. I think we've hit a lot of subjects. One of the things, too, people don't realize is there's an organization out there called Wreaths Across America.
I don't know much about them, but I know I've heard them.
I'll tell you what, they're outstanding.
Yeah.
Outstanding organization.
They're struggling now, aren't they?
They're having a hard time, which is why I thought I'd bring it up. Those of you know me, I'm with the Knights of Columbus. I'm what's called that Faithful Navigator now, which is the patriotic arm of the Knights of Columbus. And one of the things we do, not only on Memorial Day do we put the flags at in Algonquin Road over there, St. Michael's. One of the other things, the big initiatives we get behind is the Wreaths Across America. And we go to the Abraham Lincoln National Cemetery, which is in Elwood, Illinois. It's 209 West Hoff Road. So it's way out there. And they try to put on every veteran a wreath. And that's what their goal is. Right now, they're at 17.4% to their goal, which is very sad. The participation has been dropping off. You could buy a wreath, I think, for $17. You could buy a case for like $150. If you have the funds, give it a shot. And it's real simple. Wreaths, the word wreaths across America.org. You want to reach out to me personally, I'll direct you to any of it. You want to come along with us. We get a group of our brother knights from our assembly, and we go out there as a group. We've had as many as 25 people join us, and it's real nice. They have an opening ceremony, a tribute to all the fallen veterans, men and women that are buried there, and their wives. Their spouses are allowed to be buried there as well. You remember Marie Downey?
Certainly. I loved her.
Wasn't she a honey?
And her husband, Jerry.
Jerry, the guy that didn't say a word.
I know.
But spoke so
she did enough
loudly.
talking for both of them.
Yeah, but he spoke so loud. His presence was his voice. But
she had some personality.
Oh, didn't she? What pizzazz. But each year I make sure that I put a wreath on their headstone as well. And anybody who has anybody that's at the Abraham Lincoln Cemetery, which we met Susan from today's interview, Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
Her father was a Purple Heart as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to find out where he's located to get the little plot number. And I'm going to personally put a wreath on there for Susan. So, yeah, there's a very worthwhile cause. WreathsAcrossAmerica.org. There's so many people, so many organizations that are helping. We talked about Jerry Christofferson, what he does with the True Patriots Care, America's First Responders Fest. We were pleased to donate a sizable amount to them this year. So get behind our veterans, okay? No matter what you could do, that's what today's all about. Get behind our veterans. We talked about the honor flight. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a little clip about what the honor flight is and what it's all about.
In most cases, veterans do not consider themselves heroes.
I'm sure most of us don't feel any
any more special than anybody else. We did a job that was asked of us.
I was in World War II. I was a bomber pilot.
When the job was finished, we went home and were happy to be finished with that.
You know, we did what we were supposed to.
I served in the Navy.
I volunteered for the Raiders, Marine Raiders.
I served as an aircraft mechanic.
Looking back at World War II, all of us at that time were strongly motivated, I think, because of the Nazis, Pearl Harbor.
We were trying to break the Japanese weather code.
I was a member of a crew of 10. I was a bombardier and sat in the front of the plane.
I was in the Navy.
How many times in your life can you have the experience where you fly to Washington, D.C. and see all of the national monuments and get escorted and treated by wonderful people? It'll never happen again to you in all your life.
I feel very good about my Marine Corps service, and especially in Korea.
I served in Korea.
I was only there about 7 months until I got hurt.
Korea they called it a conflict. They called it a police action.
The Korean War veterans probably have not been honored as much as World War II, and they absolutely deserve that honor.
The honor flight taken off from Chicago with veterans from World War II, now Korea. I'm so proud that they're doing it for us.
The volunteers and the way we were accepted and treated as though we were something special.
They assigned one individual to each vet.
To take these fellows and get them back with their contemporaries.
To be with these veterans that made it through like I did was such a wonderful feeling.
My goodness, when we came back at the airport, there were 2,000 or 3,000 people there.
We came off the planes and where did all these people come from?
It was just a marvelous experience.
The organization of it.
At the end of the trip, we wished we could do it all over again.
Some of the people that most impressed me were the little kids. You saw a respect and a love.
The school children need to be educated in the history and the sacrifices that people have made.
This precious freedom that we all have
Brings back the trust that we can have in people. People who recognize why they have their liberty.
The guys, what they did in Omaha Beach and what they did in Iwo Jima and Okinawa.
I'm glad I served.
Honor flight is the greatest thing our nation can do for our veterans.
It's a great way to say thank you to these wonderful people who did serve in the military. It changed my life forever. It was just an experience that you never forget. I recommend it to anybody.
This is something that really meant a lot to me.
We shared in a war or police action or something that has not been generally recognized.
We were forgotten. Now we're not, I think.
This is a chance, I think, to be recognized. It's a highlight of my life.
It was a wonderful, wonderful flight.
I will never forget that trip and that experience.
And it's my feelings toward all of you who make Honor Flight a very memorable one. You have touched my heart.
And how about that? I mean, if that doesn't, yeah.
Dean, we should find out.
Nothing will.
We should find out, and we could do it right after the show, when the next Honor Flight Chicago.
I'd love to go and be an escort.
I'd go there with you in a heartbeat. Like I said, I've been there a lot. I've gone there on my own without knowing anyone who's coming home. It is just such a moving experience, very poignant, very profound, and there would be something good maybe for the station to get involved in. You know, bring your camera, have Dennis bring your camera, or whatever the case may be.
And what the
we did that the other a couple of months back with the Honor Flight as well.
I explained
right
in Burlington.
Oh, Burlington it was. Yes.
Mary Kay set that up.
Right.
It was fantastic. We were lining both sides of the street.
What airport do they fly out of? They're not Midway.
No, it was O'Hare.
Well, probably O'Hare, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was.
Kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, you know, the words that I kept hearing is, we were something special. And you look at the hats, those of you that didn't have the YouTube, there was a variety. It had to be at least 24 men and women that proudly served our country. And they were, you know, you could see the hats, some were Vietnam. And they said we were finally respected. And the young kids, and they were in Boy Scout uniforms.
Right.
And they're standing next to them. Oh, my God.
Gotta love those
I mean, it
young
just
people.
It does. It puts me in tears thinking about it, because it's like these men and women that served us, and they never had so much as a thank you in some cases.
Right.
Now, that's not all the military. There was some that was treated properly. But unfortunately, the ones that weren't, and this is finally an opportunity to be treated squarely, I love it. I really do. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. I think it was a very moving video. Go to it. It's honorflightchicago, I think, .com. And that's that Mary Penato.
Mm-hmm.
And it's info at honorflightchicago.org, O-R-G. So check it out, everybody. You're not going to want to miss that. George, have we missed anything? Like as far as, we're sort of even recapping some of the years that we've done this before. And even as we did the shows before and you had your book was out, we were in the different parades. And look at all the other initiatives we've continued to do. And you've never served in the military, nor myself.
No, never. It just wasn't in my wheelhouse at the time. I was an academic miscreant. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought I was going to play baseball for the Chicago
Have you
Cubs.
Figured it out yet? I'm just curious.
I kind of fell into some things. Yes.
George, what are you going to be when you grow up, man?
Exactly. But I wasn't sure. But I tell you what, I did have, and I always had an undying respect and affection for veterans. And I don't know where that came from. Dean, my dad was a World War II veteran, but we were so estranged that there was no relationship there. But growing up, and you know what it was like to grow up in a Chicago neighborhood. I grew up on the West Side, and those World War II veterans, and I think about, you're talking 1965, so what were those guys, Dennis? Maybe 30, 38, 40 years old? They were
less than
kids
50 easy,
to me now. I'm 69 years old. They were in their early 40s, but they were adults, and they had a certain dignity, a certain stature.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I delivered, when I was a kid, 9, 10 years old, I delivered Chicago Tribune, the newspapers, and there was a gentleman who was wounded in World War II. His name was George, coincidentally, and he lived in an apartment building, and, it was mostly bungalows there, but he lived in an apartment building, and there was something that seemed very, very cool to me about delivering his paper into an apartment building, but there was a dignity there. There was a grace that he carried himself with, and you just had a certain affection, if that's a strong enough word, for these World War II veterans growing up. And I think of,
admiration.
There you go. Thank you. Admiration. But we used to go to the Cubs games, 66, 67, 68, and on and on and on. But in those days, it would be nothing to be sitting next to, there's a group of, 2 or 3 or 4 World War II veterans down here. They're just young men maybe taking a day off to go to a Cubs game. Now, that generation's gone.
Yeah. Not forgotten, though.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Shows like this
very well said. Not forgotten.
And people like yourself, George, with the Warriors that you do, help me out with the Patriot Angels.
Soldiers Angels.
So many patriots and war, this, that, the other thing.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I was able to feed a word to you. You ever watch Johnny Carson? Johnny's wardrobe is by Dicker and Dicker of Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
I should put a little addendum on a lot of my writings and my show notes is because Dean's vocabulary is by George Wallinson. Because, George, you always give me the right word to say whenever I'm trying to posture something that's real important. Who do I call up? George, how do I word this? Mm-hmm. There's no AI that can word something the way you do.
AI doesn't have a heart.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Well, so, okay. So there is a similarity, you and AI.
Oh, wow. Zing.
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. That's it.
No, I mean that sincerely. You have helped me develop the way I speak and the way I talk in such a way.
And if I started listing everything you've done for me, I'd be down at least to...
That's okay. I'm going to turn your mic off. We're going back.
I'd be down to the riverboat.
Okay.
We're going that direction.
We're going to shoot it over to Dennis. Has a couple more I think events.
Yeah, there's a few more events that are happening. A lot of everybody's events happened earlier today. Of course, 11th hour, the 11th day, 11th month. But there's still some things that are happening. There's a few receptions and a few dinners as well. St. Charles North High School is having a Veteran Salute concert at 6 p.m. That's still happening today over at the St. Charles North High School Auditorium. You can find that at 255 Redgate Road over there in St. Charles. I do believe you have to get tickets for that one. But there's also Hanover Park is having a Veterans Day observance at 7 p.m. over at the Village Boardroom, 2121 West Lake Street in Hanover Park. A formal evening program hosted by the Hanover Park Veterans Committee, quiet, civic, and explicitly framed as a salute as well. You can head over to the Daily Herald. That they still have a list that's going on, dailyherald.com. Lots of different things that are happening, including Buffalo Grove Veterans Day celebration at 4:30 today. So you still got time to head over there. A reception and then the 5:30 program as well. That's over at the Community Arts Center at 225 McHenry Road in Buffalo Grove. It's sponsored by VFW Post 981. Their color guard will present and remove the colors, as well as present special armed service flag presentation. Lunch is already being served over there. Also, the 19th annual, like I said, the Veteran Salute over in St. Charles. Also, let's see here if I can find another one. Tomorrow, there's a few other ones. Tomorrow, there's a Veterans Day concert. Round Lake Beach Cultural and Civic Center is putting on a concert and a community event with bands, and that's the third annual concert. And then Saturday as well, take a hike to honor our veterans at 10 a.m. to noon Saturday, November 15th at Melody Farm Nature Preserve. That's 350 North Waukegan Road in Lake Forest. You honor veterans, take guided hikes of Melody Farm Nature Preserve, and enjoy crafts, games, and a light snack for all ages. And of course, Cheers for Veterans is happening on Saturday as well at Bobox Signature Events at 6440 Double Eagle Drive in Woodridge. This is the 15th annual fundraiser giving thanks to veterans, featuring fine food, an open bar, live auction, and Raise the Paddle. Keynote speaker is Dr. Richard Lee, a U.S. Army Vietnam veteran. The evening begins with a cocktail hour hors d'oeuvres from 6 to 7 p.m., followed by dinner at 7:30. Go to napervilleresponse.org to find out more information.
That kind of covers it. You had a lot of spots over there.
Yeah, it helps to be prepared sometimes, especially for an event like this for today. Like we had been talking about all day as we wrap up this hour. This is the day for those that made it home. And I'm not going to say one piece or even then unscathed, but if you can thank them, this is their day for veterans. Memorial Day, absolutely. Let's make sure that we remember those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. But today we are still recognizing those that gave a sacrifice. They still sacrificed. They still made the oath, and they still keep it today.
Excellent.
Councilman Thorne says, thank a veteran, not just today, but every day.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Some of the people on chat as well. The boss lady came in and said, Happy Veterans Day. Jose said, great show, men. What else have we've got? And Brendan also came in and said, Happy Veterans Day.
Hey, Brendan.
So lots of people jumping
Jose.
on that side.
And a lot of people are doing a lot of nice things. Ron Onesti, who constantly gives.
Yes. You were at some kind of event with Ron. It was on the lakefront. I remember that.
Oh, but we're going to do it again this year, December.
What was that? I remember.
Pearl Harbor.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, we do a wreath
It looked
toss
horrible
into
out
Lake
there
Michigan.
weather-wise.
Oh, it was freezing. Remember that wind? You see
I
those blowing?
do. That's what I remember, yes.
I'm concerned about this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to be blowing all over that place. But he's got some, any veteran that comes in all day long, and this is like any show you want to go to. You can buy him years in advance. He's got discounted tickets. So,
Ron Onesti is such a good man. He's such a giving man. And I think you know this story, Dean. Several years ago, he posted something on Facebook that if you're struggling financially and you need a Christmas gift, call me and we'll get you tickets to a show of your choice. No questions asked. We're not broadcasting who's getting free tickets. It's just a way of giving something back.
Countless times, my good friend Mike Chernota, I know he's a former Chicago police officer, and he was wanting to see this one show over at the Displays Theater. So I said, hey, Ron, listen, I know you're sold out. Is there any way, you got something even in the back? He just wants to be able to hear him and this and that. He says, no problem. He said, I'll get it all set up. Have him go to the front box office. He gave him front seat ticket because he was a veteran.
Yeah.
This is what Ron does. I mean,
he's a good man.
There's so many people that do. Look at you. So are you. So is Bill Durante, who works with you, making the collections that you do each and every weekend. It's difficult. It's difficult to be out there. Hardest thing in the world is to get people to give you money.
Yeah.
I know that.
For a good cause, people will turn up, and that's honestly where it goes beyond the bumper sticker of support the troops.
Right.
We see it all over. We see it on every single sign this time of year, right under the 2-for-1 special. It says support the troops, and a lot of businesses, that's kind of where they leave off, as they put the sign up there, and that's it. We commend all of those that do support the troops, not just monetarily, but also in kind gestures, and also showing up for events like this. My goodness, being over there for the Elgin Memorial for it today.
Nice, yeah.
Oh my goodness, seeing that almost every single seat full. That's what I love seeing.
Great. And then the public servants who showed up, the police and fire department, not only the top brass, but the others as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, I really liked it, off duty and on duty. Both of these police and fire chiefs of this town, they are into this community, and they always represent, and I love it. George, we're at that time where it's going to be closing real quick, so why don't we give you final word? What do you have for us here that you want to leave the listeners with?
Final word is I'm so appreciative of the time here and appreciative of everything that our veterans do from day to day, from week to week, from month to month. And we need to remind ourselves of their sacrifices, I think, and try to mirror those sacrifices in a way that works for us. Not everybody could donate $100 or $50 or $20, and be mindful of that too, and never begrudge anybody for not doing something that they can't do. We do what we can do, but everything small makes a difference, and we're moving in the right direction if we're working together.
Everybody, George Rollinson here was joining us. Thank you very much, George, for all that you've contributed,
Thank you.
not only to the station, but to our veterans. God bless everybody as we had our Veterans Day celebration. WRMN 1410, and that's going to complete our broadcast.
I'd like to hear that theme song one more time.
By what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 4 o'clock.
I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley. This update brought to you by Hot Hands. Downers Grove police are asking for the public's help after a woman was grabbed while jogging Friday afternoon. The woman said a man grabbed her by the hips before fleeing in a dark gray sedan. Police described the suspect as a black male, early to mid-30s, wearing a blue SAS t-shirt, black pants, and white Nike Air Max shoes. Anyone with information or video footage is urged to contact the Downers Grove Police Department. In Maine Township, Cook County Sheriff's deputies are investigating a gas station burglary. Security footage shows 3 masked and gloved suspects entering the business early Thursday, stealing cash from a video game machine and 2 bottles of tequila. Authorities say a BMW was seen near the scene, and they are asking anyone with information to come forward. The Senate is moving to end the government shutdown after moderate Democrats agreed to a funding deal without guaranteed health care subsidies. The 60-40 vote angered many in the party, with most Democrats, including leader Chuck Schumer, opposing the move. Final approval could take several more days. Elgin residents could see a significant jump in their property taxes next year. City officials unveiled a proposed 2026 budget last week that includes a 13.2% increase to help cover rising costs, capital projects, new hires, and public safety pensions. The $407.6 million plan also calls for $113 million in road and infrastructure projects, including work on Dundee Avenue, Center Street, Villa Street, and National Street, as well as a new roundabout at Highland and Lyle Avenues. Officials say no other tax increases are planned, and more details will be shared as the council reviews the budget. In Aurora, a middle school teacher is facing multiple felony charges for allegedly engaging in a sexual relationship with a former student. 34-year-old Jessica Bergman was arrested last week after investigators say the inappropriate relationship began while the victim was in high school. She has been released with strict conditions and is scheduled to appear in court December 1st. Authorities describe the case as a serious breach of trust and authority. I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would it leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. If your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection on the drivetrain, AC, and more. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits. A $2,000 value, free.
Call 800-298-9302. 800-298-9302.
From the pages of the Elgin newspapers of 100 years ago today, these are the headlines brought to you by the Elgin History Museum.
Measures to control the scarlet fever epidemic in Elgin were taken at a joint meeting of the Elgin Board of Health, the Elgin Physicians Club, and representatives of the Board of Education at the City Hall this afternoon. The emergency session was called upon at the request of Dr. S.S. Winner of the State Board of Health, who arrived from Springfield this morning to investigate conditions. Upon the order of Dr. Winner, the Elgin Board of Health will insist that children under 16 years of age be kept away from public gatherings until the epidemic is wiped out. A package of cigarettes, some matches, and 70 cents in change comprised the loot thieves obtained in stealing a woman's handbag at a dance in Eagles Hall last night. The young lady had left the bag, a Kodak pocket.
Hot hands. This afternoon, sunny with a high near 41, temperatures falling to around 39, and gusty winds up to 30 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 34. Looking ahead to tomorrow, sunny with a high near 50. Currently, it is 42 with clear skies. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Whether it's morning routines or weekends on the sidelines when the temperature drops, America brings the heat with Hot Hands. Hot Hands are America's favorite hand, toe, neck, and even body warmers to help you stay warm and cozy from head to toe. Hot Hands are fast acting, they're long lasting, and they are made right here in the USA. Look for the Hot Hands logo and the bright orange packages at your favorite store or online, and keep doing what you love out there with Hot Hands, warming up America coast.
They were best friends, inseparable in fact, until the day Miguel died. Every day his friend visited Miguel's grave. Rain, wind, weekends, holidays, every day. Miguel's closest friend, Capitan, his German Shepherd, is a symbol of loyalty to which we can all aspire. Loyalty. Pass it on from passiton.com.
Chicago defense attorney Mark Schieblo has co-authored the book titled DUI Jury Trial, which is a true story of a DUI case that he defended. The accused was an Illinois truck driver arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol. This book contains facts about the case from the date of the arrest up to the jury's verdict, and this nonfiction novel also includes the transcripts from the jury trial itself. The book DUI Jury Trial is now available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. And good day to our friends around the world. This is a political talk show here on WRMN. That's WRMN 1410 on that AM dial of yours, and also WRMN1410.com. For those of you that like to go on to, websites, maybe from your phone, check out the TuneIn app. You could listen to WRMN there, or look over at your smart speaker. Say, hey, smart speaker, play WRMN radio, WRMN 1410. Make sure you enunciate. There's a WRNN that's out there. So make sure you say that 1410 on the back end, just to make sure that you get there. But YouTube's real easy. It's not as voice activated as some of the other things that are out there in the world, but you can head on over to YouTube. You can go to youtube.com. You can find us at WRMN Radio. The text line is open, 505-926-1410. That's open 24 hours a day. That's the text line. WRMN 1410. Takes all kinds of different things. Anything that you would text a friend, right? 505-926-1410. You can save us in your phone. Send over pictures. Maybe you made some really good spaghetti. Maybe you saw a great picture of the Fox River Valley stuck in traffic. Maybe you read a great article. Doesn't necessarily have to be about the Fox River Valley. I take those articles as well. You can always send them over to me as well at news@WRMN1410. That's where I am. But thanks for being here. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. We've got a few things to talk about today, but one of them especially is going to be about the government shutdown, which is now, I guess, over. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the whole arc of everything. We'll talk about the timeline. We'll start in September and walk through everything that's happening. We'll even talk a little bit about how this is, for me, a repeating pattern of the Democrats. Have a big win, have a big whatever with it, have a big momentum, and then chop off their own knees. You ever see the meme of the guy riding the bicycle, And then he takes a stick and he sticks it into the front spoke, falls over. That's pretty much it. What good is a shutdown if you don't hold to it? Now, am I happy that the government is open? Absolutely. Ecstatic. Gift horse, etc. But here's the problem. It was all for naught. Short answer, yeah. To me, what they got at the end of it was a promise that they got 3 weeks ago and didn't want. And I understand the hardship. I understand the furlough. I understand SNAP. I understand the 10% reduction in travel. Absolutely the hardships of a government shutdown. I understand the hardships of a government shutdown. A senator who puts us into a government shutdown should know these hardships as well and know that they are coming down the line. There should be a timeline. And to guise it as Democratic leadership didn't want this is yet again another one of those things that they're going to feed you. Again, just like they'll feed you candidates, just like they'll tell you who you can vote for, who you can't. The Democrats do not practice democracy, my friends. I hope you caught a little bonus episode of Dino's Night Out as he walks out the door here. Check on back on the WRMN YouTube side of things. This very stream right here, we had George on. George Rollins. He came to talk about Veterans Day. It's a great day to celebrate a veteran. Please thank one. Not me. Thank somebody else. I've gotten plenty of thanks. I appreciate all of them. But pick a different person. Get another one out there. So this is it, right? This is the everybody wants the cake and ice cream party, except for these three people over here, so we can't have cake and ice cream. 50 some other people want cake and ice cream, but these three, I guess these 8 are there. And that's the pattern that I continuously see with the Democrat Party. And those of you that are going, oh, well, he is just a Republican, and this is a Republican show, and all the others. Absolutely not. I'm going to call it like I see it. And when the Democrats do not act democratic, I'll call it out, just like I don't like when the Republicans do not operate from a point of holding up the republic. But this 100% makes it the Democrat shutdown, regardless of what everyone was calling it. Schumer shutdown, Trump Republican shutdown, whatever it was the longest, and it was the Democrats' fault. Even then, motivation can't bring it back when you don't get anything from it. Now, what did I want to get? Well, some action. We'll talk about the walkthrough, but the shutdown marked the latest and most protracted collision between partisan brinksmanship and the basic operation of the U.S. Beginning with the expiration of federal funding and a standoff over the Affordable Care Act premium subsidies, the crisis quickly evolved beyond a technical budget dispute into a referendum on the character and obligations of the government itself. The Supreme Court stepped in. The lower courts stepped in. We are seeing this constitutional crisis. The President of the United States appealed to paying SNAP. First time in history. First time in a shutdown. The president appealed 2 court orders to release those funds. And if that doesn't point at the fault or doesn't point at the cruelty and doesn't show again what the Democrats were trying to show, what does? What does? When poll after poll continuously shows that the Democrats were on at least America's side from the way that they perceived it, what did you get from this? Not what did you get from this right now. Right now, we get a government back. Absolutely great. We were going to get that eventually. We were. Hardship, no hardship, Christmas time, no Christmas time. We were going to get a functioning government back. It's inevitable. Or we don't, and then all kinds of other things happen. But the inevitability of the government coming back should have once again exasperated it. And it just so happens to be a coincidence that every single one of these Democrats who are defecting from the leadership, say that with as many quotations as I can, none of them are up for election in 26. None of them. Because they know that the people will forget in 3 years. They'll forget. Come 2028, they'll forget. Or, in the case of some others, they are not going after re-election. This, again, becomes this thing you see all the time with the Democratic Party, where you see the scapegoat. You see the Liebermans. You see the Mansions. You see the cinemas. And here's the issue. Before we head over to break, I've seen time and time again that the Democrats will lean on the parliamentarian. They will lean on the filibuster. They will lean on the, oh, my hands are tied. And what did the president try to do? Get rid of the filibuster. Well, now you can't just have a regular majority. If they get rid of the filibuster, then it won't be an excuse of 1 or 2 independents. You'll have to see exactly what you're seeing right now. Over a half dozen. And can the Democratic Party really survive if over a half dozen of them deflect to what they really want? They really, really want this. But, oh, man, if it wasn't for that Kristen Sinema, oh, man, we'd all have cake and ice cream right now. Public opinion, economic estimates, and institutional strain formed the hard metrics beneath this rhetoric. And polls consistently showed broad disapproval, and it tilted towards blaming Republicans. So, Democrats, what did you get? You got a large uphill battle with only a guarantee, pinky promise pinky promise guarantee that they'll let you at least talk about it. Stick around. We're breaking it down here on A Political Talk Show. We'll be right back after this.
We're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Building a house is hard, but have you tried removing one? Flood Brothers takes the mess out of demolition. With fast roll-off dumpster delivery, reliable debris pickup, and a family-owned team that takes service personally. Call 630-261-0400 or visit floodbrothersdisposal.com. Flood Brothers Disposal, proud sponsor of America's First Responders Fest.
This year, America's First Responders Fest 2025 was a huge success, and we couldn't have done it without the Village of Burlington and Village President Mary Kay Welsen. Your support helped bring the Fox River Valley together in the Village of Hampshire to celebrate the heroes who keep us safe every day. Thank you, Village of Burlington, for standing behind America's First Responders Fest 2025 and for standing with those who serve.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough. But if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to A Political Talk Show here on WRMN. We're live streaming over on YouTube. You can find us at youtube.com. WRMN Radio, that's the place to go. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. You're listening to A Political Talk Show, a generic political talk show for everybody. And that's why we want to break down the facts. Now, yes, can I get into hyperbole just like everyone else? Also, I am a radio host. That is my job. Everything's fantastic and big, phenomenal, amazing, huge, showman. But at the end of the day, facts are facts. The objective world is out there. Now, we can all live in our silos. I can paint whatever objective world I want to if I only give you so many facts. And that's why I want to make sure that we get the entire broad spectrum to see everything. So let's talk about the timeline for the shutdown before we get to our bottom of the hour break here. Republicans are controlling the White House, the House, and the Senate. Let's rewind back to September 2025. This is before the shutdown. But the Republicans controlling the White House, the House, and the Senate advance funding without extending the enhanced ACA premium tax credits set to expire at this year. Now, why? Everybody asks, if these were so important, why are they expiring this year, et cetera, et cetera? Well, I don't know if you remember during the Biden presidency, they were on the brink of shutdown a few times. Then the Democrats put on their big boy pants and decided to actually negotiate. And part of the negotiation was that the ACA premium tax credits would expire at the end of, you guessed it, 2025. So those of you that are going, oh, well, if it was so important, they would have kept it going. Okay, yes, it was important. It was ongoing until it needed to be negotiated to not. Also in September, Democrats in both chambers signaled they would not support a bill that admit these subsidies. They said that probably before September, but definitely in September. Said, hey, we're not going to pass this resolution. We're not going to fix the budget. Which, by the way, we have not had a balanced budget since the 90s. These are all resolutions. It's another vote for people, and they can't balance the budget, so they're just going to spend it and kick the can down the road to the next group of people, generation after generation. Until finally somebody decides to do something about it. We pay as much in tax, or as much on our debt. You, me, everyone pays the same amount against our debt as we pay for our military out of our taxes. The people that came before right now got to rack up the credit card, and the only way that America can survive right now is to continue to rack up the credit card. I hope they got what they wanted. Whoever racked up the credit card. I can say me, I guess. But I wasn't able to start voting until after the 2000s. Speaker Mike Johnson accuses Democrats in September of, quote, playing politics with all the services that the American people demand, claiming they're risking troop pay to secure Obamacare priorities. Obamacare, by the way, which I don't know if you know this or not, but I guess he gets subsidies for it. I guess he gets royalties because they call it. No, they don't. And anybody who tweets it out without really fact-checking this incredibly debunked thing should probably have their social media taken away. Just saying. At the time in September, the stage is set in familiar terms. Republicans cast Democrats as privileging ideological health care demands, and Democrats cast Republicans as using the budget to dismantle the coverage, right? The back and forth that we get. Then we get to October 1st. With no agreement by the start of fiscal year 2026, a shutdown begins after the prior funding bill lapses. Because now they do it a year at a time, 6 months at a time, because that's the brinksmanship that we're getting to right now. Every 6 months, and now in 2 months, we'll have the same conversation. The dispute. Democrats demand inclusion of the ACA subsidy extensions in a funding package. Republicans refuse to negotiate subsidies, quote, under shutdown conditions. Some even backing Trump's push to redirect or scale back the credits. And this is where the early impact comes in. Hundreds of thousands of federal employees are furloughed. We'll be right back after this.
By Cintas. Elgin residents could see a significant jump in their property taxes next year. City officials unveiled a proposed 2026 budget last week that includes a 13.2% increase to help cover rising costs, capital projects, new hires, and public safety pensions. The $407.6 million plan also calls for $113 million in road and infrastructure projects, including work on Dundee Avenue, Center Street, Villa Street, and National Street, as well as a new roundabout at Highland and Lyle Avenues. Officials say no other tax increases are planned, and more details will be shared as the council reviews the budget. In Aurora, a middle school teacher is facing multiple felony charges for allegedly engaging in a sexual relationship with a former student. 34-year-old Jessica Bergman was arrested last week after investigators say the inappropriate relationship began while the victim was in high school. She has been released with strict conditions and is scheduled to appear in court December 1st. Authorities describe the case as a serious breach of trust and authority. Downers Grove police are asking for the public's help after a woman was grabbed while jogging Friday afternoon. The woman said a man grabbed her by the hips before fleeing in a dark gray sedan. Police described the suspect as a black male, early to mid-30s, wearing a blue SAS t-shirt, black pants, and white Nike Air Max shoes. Anyone with information or video footage is urged to contact the Downers Grove Police Department. In Maine Township, Cook County Sheriff's deputies are investigating a gas station burglary. Security footage shows 3 masked and gloved suspects entering the business early Thursday, stealing cash from a video game machine and 2 bottles of tequila. Authorities say a BMW was seen near the scene, and they are asking anyone with information to come forward. The Senate is moving to end the government shutdown after moderate Democrats agreed to a funding deal without guaranteed health care subsidies. The 60-40 vote angered many in the party, with most Democrats, including Leader Chuck Schumer, opposing the move. Final approval could take several more days. I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley.
The holidays are back at Starbucks, so share the season with a peppermint mocha. Starbucks signature espresso, velvety mocha, and cool peppermint notes, topped with whipped cream and dark chocolate curls. Together is the best place to be at Starbucks.
Find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
With Progressive's collision coverage, my family gets up to $1,000 for vet bills if I'm injured in a car accident. And that makes this Chihuahua really feel like part of the family. What's that? I don't sound like a Chihuahua? Oh, I'm sorry. What exactly am I supposed to sound like? I guess all Chihuahuas are high-strung, riding around in expensive designer purses. Actually, I prefer riding in cars. So I appreciate that my family protects me with Progressive's pet collision coverage. Okay, maybe I am a little high-strung. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and is subject to policy terms.
Are you dreaming of a getaway? Want to leave the stress of daily life behind? Whether it's a relaxing cruise or an adventurous land escape, planning the perfect vacation doesn't have to be a hassle. At Cruises International, they specialize in vacation destinations, land and sea, making your dreams come true. Located at 1721 Moon Lake Boulevard in Hoffman Estates, Cruises International isn't just about booking travel. They're your personal concierge, trusted travel advisor, and advocate. Your preferences are unique, and they'll take the time to understand exactly what you're looking for. From personalized service to their global network of specialists, they ensure that your vacation is tailor-made just for you. It's time to plan the vacation of a lifetime. Call 800-255-7447. That's 800-255-7447 today and speak to a cruise and vacation expert. Cruises International. It's time to set sail to your dream destination.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. Brought to you by Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blade. This afternoon, sunny with a high near 41 and gusty winds up to 30 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 34. Looking ahead to Wednesday, sunny with a high near 50. Currently, it is 40 degrees with clear skies. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
The holidays are back at Starbucks, so share the season with a peppermint mocha. Starbucks Signature Espresso, Velvety Mocha, and cool peppermint notes, topped with whipped cream and dark chocolate curls. Together is the best place to be at Starbucks.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Talk show here on WRMN. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. You can find me online at Sonic Engineer. You can always send me a message. Sonar at WRMN1410.com. I also take news at WRMN1410.com. Haven't done it for a couple days just because Mr. Matt McNeil has been out, and we had a fantastic Veterans Day program earlier today. But the 10 o'clock news is coming back tomorrow. You guessed it, at 10 a.m. The earliest 10 o'clock news in the Chicagoland area. So we're talking about the shutdown, and hopefully the one that is going to come to an end, hopefully before the end of the week. That'd be great. And we're walking through the timeline because there was a lot of rhetoric. There's a lot of back and forth with this. There was a lot of blame. There was a lot of, I guess, brinksmanship, gamesmanship, whatever you want to call it. And the early impact was hundreds of thousands of federal employees furloughed October 1st. Essential personnel work without pay. But imagine that. Imagine being so essential that you have to work without pay. We learned about essential workers during the pandemic. During that time, everybody was paid. Key services like SNAP, some health and safety inspections, national parks, aviation system support, all of them already started to strain in that first week. And the rhetorical framing, Republicans branded as the Schumer shutdown and insist Democrats are holding the government hostage over partisan health care demands. The statements from Senate Majority Leader John Thune and House GOP messaging. Democrats call it the Trump Republican shutdown. Not as catchy, I suppose. Arguing Republicans are using ordinary Americans as leverage to force through health care cuts and federal workforce reductions. Both of those statements are not exclusive. Both of those statements, in the eyes of us citizens over here, are true. Republicans were holding the government for health care demands, and they are partisan health care demands. The Democrats want the ACA credits to continue. The Republicans don't. That's partisan. It's about health care, and it is the Democrats' demand. The Democrats calling it the Trump Republican shutdown. Well, who's in charge? And arguing that Republicans are using ordinary Americans as leverage to force through health care cuts and federal workforce reductions. Well, they reduced the federal workforce after the shutdown, people who were furloughed. They're talking about not paying these people, which is the exact law that this president signed during the last government shutdown. So I don't know why they're fighting that. It's in law that these people will be paid. So again, I ask you, Democrats, what did you get? For all of this anguish, for everything that did happen. Yes, I get it. You mitigated the damage. You said, nope, we are done. You mitigated future damage. Absolutely. But by mitigating that damage, you invalidated the damage that was already done. The billions of dollars of GDP, the faith in our Congress by the American people dwindling even further, setting new records of low. And in early mid-October, public opinion actually started to harden. Federal disruptions widened, the delays in SNAP stalled small business loans, national park closures, and deteriorating airport operations. The shutdown is quickly framed as a test of partisan resolve on health care and on the executive branch. So the messaging got out. The Democrats' messaging got out despite the blatant violations of the Hatch Law or Hatch Act, which people are not supposed to use their public office for political anything. So anywhere that you saw on government websites the Democratic shutdown, that is a violation of the Hatch Act. But beside all of that, Quinnipiac put that 45% of registered voters said Republicans in Congress are more responsible. Not that they're fully responsible, more responsible. And 39 put Democrats at that more responsible, where 11% volunteered that both share the responsibility. When both parties' congressional approval is already deeply negative, but Republicans fare worse. And an AP NORC coverage for things in a report, roughly 89% of the American people view the shutdown as a problem. Even majorities across parties saw that significant harm. At this time, Trump repeatedly insists he, quote, won't be extorted to extending ACA subsidies and calls the ACA, quote, the worst healthcare system anywhere, and presented the standoff as a fight against a failed program. And he says he would rather send the money directly to the people instead. Even the post-election night $2,000 stimulus, right? Bessent, I think Treasury Secretary Bessent shut that down in less than 24 hours. It was like, well, those $2,000 may come in many different forms back to the American people. At this time, Democrats emphasize concrete stakes. These premium spikes, if the subsidies lapse, the disrupted food aid, and what they portray as illegal withholding of congressionally appropriated funds and politically motivated layoffs. And let's break down those two things first off. And I see where the Republicans are coming from with the food stamp side of it. There is no budget. If there is no budget, then there is no thing that is funding any of these programs. Now, we can say that there was an emergency fund left over from the last budget, but that's only enough to get through half month. So we'll get half of what November is supposed to pay out and then nothing till the government reopens or puts something in. I absolutely see where that side is. Legally, there is no money allocated. There isn't. So I see where they're saying on that side. And the Democrats, again, are talking about the subsidies. And so this takes us to late October. Quantitative indicators estimated by various sources. First off, we're going to go to the Congressional Budget Office. They said the short-term hit was equivalent to roughly $7 to $14 billion in permanently lost output if the shutdown persisted, and notable drag on Q4 growth. Independent and Media Analysis, CBS, reports as well, weekly losses in the range of $7 to $16 billion in economic activity, including ripple effects. GOP and Democrat actors selectively weaponize these numbers. Republicans cite the CBO-style estimates and label it as a Democrat shutdown, or the Schumer shutdown. And Democrats highlight the same losses as evident that the Republicans are willing to damage the economy to weaken the ACA and even the federal workforce. By late October, national surveys, Washington Post, ABC, Ipsos, AP, all show that more Americans blaming Trump and the Republicans than Democrats, though a substantial share blame both sides. The pattern reproduces earlier shutdowns. The side seen as making maximalist ideological demand tends to absorb the blame. And I guess demanding that the ACA stay at a high number is that ideological demand. By November, the shutdown surpasses the 2018-2019 record, becoming the longest in U.S. history. Around 1.25 million federal workers paid late or furloughed, with hundreds of thousands furloughed at the peak. Missed wages estimated in the mid-tens of billions of dollars. Severe backlogs in federal courts, permitting, safety inspections, and benefits processing. Republicans say Democrats are, quote, willing to crash basic government operations to protect the failing entitlement and healthcare for people who shouldn't be, or healthcare for people who should be in the private market, all with calls from some to end the Senate filibuster so Republicans can bypass Democrats entirely. The Democrats, they say Trump and the Republicans are, quote, deliberately manufacturing chaos to force cuts and illegally purge civil servants. The shutdown is portrayed as constitutional hardball against congressional power of the purse. And they went back and forth even then. The 8th to the 10th. Mounting disruptions, notably aviation and SNAP, plus growing GOP exposure in polls, pushes Senate Republicans towards a deal. A bipartisan Senate group crafts a package. They'll reopen the government via continuing resolution through January. That's it. January 30th of 2026. It restores funding and guarantees retroactive pay, which is already the law. I don't know why that is a concession to your deal. But it also reverses Trump-driven federal layoffs, which were illegal, and bars further reductions in a force through the CR period. Two of those concessions they already wrote laws last time about. And it offers only a promise of a vote on the ACA subsidies, not the substantive extension that the Democrats actually wanted. So they get a promise of a vote, a pinky promise of a vote, that the Senate Republicans say they don't even support now, so they'll have to make it through that vote. Then maybe, if the Speaker of the House, Johnson, decides to take up the vote, maybe it'll pass that. And if it passes the Republican-controlled Senate, it finally gets picked up in a Republican-controlled House and passes the Republican-controlled House. It then has to go to guess whose desk? You guessed it. You've heard the schoolhouse rock. The president, who has veto power. So I ask again, for the third time this hour, what did you get for this shutdown, for this anguish already? When the people showed up to vote in droves for you, what did you get? Thune and the GOP leaders announced, quote, an end to the Schumer shutdown, stressing that Republicans secured a clean funding bill without locking the ACA subsidy expansions, exactly what they offered 3 weeks ago. The president signals support for the deal while reiterating that he did not yield on the subsidies. He's already telling you he'll veto it if it comes to his desk, because he preserves the narrative that he resisted the extortion. And they even went on and said that Trump was not caving. Not the Senate's Republicans weren't caving. Not the establishment wasn't caving. They tipped the hat to the president and said, yes, strong man, do stand up. They turned around and they capitulated again. And this is why the Democrats are split. Party leaders and progressives denounce the compromise as reopening the government on Trump's terms and abandoning millions facing premium spikes, while moderates stress the need to end concrete harm to workers and beneficiaries. As of now, with the Senate bill passed and the House vote imminent, the political framing battle continues. Republicans claim victory for fiscal restraint and resistance to the ACA entrenchment, and Democrats claim moral and political high ground on health care, even as some accuse their own leadership of strategic retreat, which is what I would absolutely categorize this as. This is once again the strategic retreat, the controlled opposition of the Democratic Party. I'm not going to say they had them on the ropes. I'm not going to say that they had them about ready to crack. But what they did have was an election night where the people told them they were doing the right thing. The Democrat Party members voted for fighters, voted for people that were going to take it to the administration. And what they got, once again, was another strategic placement of not doing anything. Now, am I happy that the government is back on track? Yeah, 100%. Look, I'm there with you. It is absolutely great. But look at it this way. Say you have a fever. You're trying to break the cold. This is how the Democrats essentially put this in frame. They said, we need this thing fixed. And the only way that we can see fixing it right now, not making it a chronic illness, not kicking it down the road, how we see to fix it right now is to put it in this resolution, and we need to get it in this resolution before we will vote for it. And so your body starts the fever. It starts the cold. It starts the runny nose. It starts the mild suffering that needs to happen to fix the issue. And imagine, like most things, if you stop your fever, you stop your antibiotic halfway through, you stop your treatment. Does the treatment hurt? It does, but do not start a shutdown if you do not want the ramifications. Because the next time you claim shutdown, they know your limit and they know how to break you. And that is to be cruel to the American people. We've seen the cruelty. We've seen the unprecedentedness, right? Of not funding SNAP. Of laying off people that legally, from your own bill you signed, you're not allowed to do. Not paying the people or threatening to not pay them, again, from the own bill you signed. And yet again, the Democrats decided, we would love to do this thing. I know we're all unified and everything, but oh, shucks. We've got these people over here that don't agree, which is okay, fine. But don't tell me you're united. Unless you are united. And your no vote, Mr. Schumer, is all to make sure that you're not primaried next year. Which honestly, you need to be. More Apolitical Talk Show coming up after this.
At Britain's Touchless Car Wash, they know life gets busy. That's why they're here 24/7 to keep your car looking spotless, fast, and easy. Their advanced brush-free wash technology delivers a sparkling clean without a single scratch, because they treat your car like it's their own. Here's the best part. Right now, you can get a free car wash just for joining their text club. It's